afternoon, everyone.
Welcome to Maple Grove. We are the Friends of Maple Grove, and we welcome you to this wonderful performance today. Just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, we are a volunteer organization that work within the cemetery to bring the public into the center and to create this cultural center in Queens. We have many performances here almost every weekend and sometimes in between. So keep on top of it by looking at our calendar, which is constantly being updated on our website, the Friends of Maple Grove Cemetery. And we are also very active on Facebook with a public page, so you don't even have to have a Facebook account. You can get into it and take a look there. And a lot of photos that are posted. So it's an exciting way to share with the community everything that we do.
Dedication.
Yes. Every event that we have is dedicated to someone who is buried at the cemetery. We have 117,000 people behind us, and they tell some wonderful stories. The cemetery was opened in 1875, and so we have almost 150 years of people, history. These are the people that made New York. These are the people that created Queens. What we are today is a result of their legacy, and we love to tell even just a little bit about them. So today's performance is dedicated to a man named Detlef Henry Hansen. He was born in 1870 and died in 1955. He was a musician and a cellist, and he played with a trio. So we honor him by remembering his name and saying it today. And downstairs on the wall is an inscription of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian proverb, which says basically to say the name of the dead is to bring them back to life. And so we do. We remember those who came before us, and we honor their memory, and we're happy to do so.
Okay. Cell phones.
Yes, few housekeeping things here. We are videotaping today, so we ask that if you go out, you go around the back and exit quietly through one of the doors. The restrooms are downstairs on the far left corner of the lower level. And also the cell phones, we ask that you silence them. I remember to do mine, so I won't be embarrassed by it ringing crazy. Yeah, right. Yeah, check that cell phone. Is it flashing? His flashes, it makes all kinds of noises. Okay. So yes, that housekeeping is done. So also afterwards, we will have a reception on the lower level where we have a gallery of pictures, which we invite you to take a look at. They are from the students at PS 99. And they did fanciful drawings called the Whimsical Houses of Richmond Hill to highlight the Victorian heritage of Richmond Hill neighborhood in their artwork. So also we have artwork up here. We have used the walls to the best advantage by showing off artwork by this young man who traveled the world and took photos, and we have them posted here. You can read about him on some of the information that's posted there. And we also have artwork here by a very important Chinese artist who is buried in Maple Grove, and you can read about him there too. Afterwards at the reception, we are very happy to announce that our friends at the Women Helping Women group in Forest Hills have donated some special treats for us to enjoy along with the wine and other desserts that we have for you today. So thank you. Anything else?
Yes. Next Saturday is a very important concert, November 18. It's Victor Starsky, an up-and-rising opera singer who was at Carnegie Hall just 3 weeks ago that we saw. He was also the lead in the Aida in the Utah Opera House. So, and he grew up in Richmond Hill. He's all of 30 years old, 2 children, a young man, but as I said, an upcoming, and we expect a full house that day. Yes. So please reserve early. I think that, and then a holiday concert is on December 2nd, another full house.
You have to reserve for that one, or I'm not letting you in the door, so make sure you get your reservation.
And book drive at the same time.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Without further ado, you're welcome.
big audience for our concert today. The first piece on our program reflects back to the beginnings of Quintet of the Americas. We were formed in Bogota, Colombia, and right away we met a lot of Colombian composers, and one of them was Jorge Olaya Munoz, who wrote a lot of dances for us. And this one, On the Coast, A la Costa, is a lot of fun, and we thought it would be a great way to get the program started.
He was born in Argentina, but he actually moved to the United States in 2000 to pursue his music career. And so he's been here since then. He lives in Brooklyn. So this piece is actually called Brooklyn Folk Divertimento. He is coming to tomorrow's concert, but he is not here today. One of the really amazing things about working with composers here in New York City is that we do invite them to come to our rehearsals and give feedback and things like that. So he did actually come to one of our rehearsals. We worked very closely with him. And some of the really interesting things that you're going to hear in this piece of music is a lot of extended technique. So you might hear things like flutter tonguing, or you might hear things like key clicks and some unusual sounds that maybe you haven't heard come from our instruments. Some of them are a little startling. Some of them are just very rhythmic. So enjoy.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be back here. Wonderful place to play. What an amazing setting for you guys. We get to look at you. We work with lots of composers. And the next composer we met several years ago, I think he's here.
Yeah, right here.
I'm Gilbert Galindo, and it's so nice to be with you guys here. It's a packed house. Awesome. So I wrote this during the shutdown pandemic, 2020, and but I was thinking, Voices of the Unseen. I take retreats sometimes, or before the pandemic I did. I'm going to resume this again, in New Mexico, and I'm so enchanted with the land there. I'm originally from West Texas. But an image came to mind while I was starting working on this piece. It's like, it feels very spiritual in New Mexico in a way. And I was just kind of conjuring, I was just kind of thinking of what these spirits in the air might sound like, or what they might say. And so you have the movement titles that reflect that, winding voices, kind of like a conjuring of spirits or voices in the air, and then Dance of the Spirits, and then you have a hymn that is kind of like a prayer, and an interlude chorale, and then the final movement kind of coalesces with all the themes and most of the themes of the whole quintet. So you'll hear you have sensitive moments, you have lyrical moments, pretty aggressive moments, and dancey moments, contemplative moments, and all that sort of stuff, utilizing a bunch of colors in the woodwind. So you're going to hear them play on the bass clarinet, the piccolo, and the English horn, as well as the regular instruments. But the horn, and the bassoon doesn't have alternate instruments usually, right? So there. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Yeah.
Thank you. To play this piece, Voices of the Unseen, that cemetery, special. And I just want to add on a personal note to this, music's power to communicate things that are kind of unable to express in any other way. This is wordless. And this Voices piece is absolutely beautiful and powerful. So by adding these other instruments to the group, we bring in a bit of a lower voice than the oboe. It's kind of like the viola is to the violin. David, want to play a few notes on and say a few words about this?
Sure, yeah. The unseen instrument in this quintet for the clarinet side is the bass clarinet, which is kind of like a clarinet except it's way bigger and it can play pretty low. It has a pretty big low range. Like that. And it can also play really high. The high range is actually very beautiful because it's so long and such a thick instrument. It gets a very velvety high range too. And can we want to talk about the piccolo?
Sure. So this is the piccolo. You can see it's much smaller than the flute. So it's actually made out of wood instead of being made out of silver or gold. It's very, very high-pitched instrument. It is the highest pitched instrument. So typically in an orchestra, you will only see one. It's very high. So just as a warning, I do have quite some high things in here. So just like a little. So that's just a very quiet little sample. But you'll hear
Okay, and one last comment. This piece really hit me because in 2020 my partner died. And I had visits from spirit before and after he passed. And if you talk to people who have lost loved ones, you kind of know that there's this communication that goes on because they're not gone. They are unseen, but they're not unheard. So I want to give you one example of what Bill does here. Let's play that, maybe that G natural I have, because there are ways that vibration come together that produce pretty mysterious events. I think it's a G natural.
Yeah.
So there's a point at which we're holding this in a chord. Go ahead and play your G. Hear the other pitch that comes in? Let's do it again. We can move that other pitch around. This is something that wind players can claim over the other instruments in some ways. Although there are different tones, this is a matter of vibrations kind of clashing and producing another sound. And that is the spirit that's in the room. And here we are. So, voices of the unseen.
play is by the Cuban composer Ernesto Oliva. This piece is actually an arrangement of a song by another Cuban artist, Silvio Rodriguez. The song is called Canto Arena. And Ernesto, who's a pianist and composer, he arranged this song, which is usually for a singer with some drums, some guitars, more like a pop rock band setup. He arranged this song for a woodwind quintet. Silvio Rodriguez, like I said, was a Cuban singer, artist, and he was part of the movement called Nueva Trova Cubana, which is basically like a new Cuban folk. And what this movement did was that it took attributes of Cuban folk music and put political lyrics to it. So a lot of the lyrics had to do with socialism, feminism, belonging to one's country both geographically and spiritually. And this song is actually very much about how Silvio felt his connection to his literal earth and how that was both a physical thing and an emotional thing for him. Ernesto Oliva has written other pieces for us before. He actually wrote a wind sextet with piano, and we are very excited at the opportunity of performing that with him, hopefully very soon. In the meantime, hope you enjoy Canto Arena.
Years ago, we had a residency at the Americas Society on Park Avenue in Manhattan. And at one point, we were introduced to this marvelous jazz musician, Gaudencio Thiago de Mello. And Thiago was amazing in that he incorporated all kinds of what he called organic percussion, things made out of animals and seed pods and all kinds of things that could be found in nature, particularly from the area of the Amazon where he was born. He inspired us to do a lot of pieces using extra instruments, and we already had this wonderful collection. He gave us some rain sticks, and he wrote, I don't know how many pieces for us to play with us on percussion. This next piece is the only piece that he wrote for us that does not involve percussion. Unfortunately, Thiago died a few years ago, and so we can play this thinking about him and in his memory. Pra Dormir na Rede is the Brazilian pronunciation, even though it looks like Reedy or something like that. Alla Canto, and It's really a beautiful lullaby. So we love it. We think you will too.
Latin American music by Latin American composers. This is seriously our favorite place to play. It's amazing, the sounds amazing, the scenery, it's beautiful. So today, before we play our last piece, we just want you to know that we are, our group is all through grants. We run solely on grants in New York City. So if there's anything that you love that you're hearing today, if you want us to come back, if you want to give comments, you can go to our website and check out our email. Do we have the form made now on the website?
No.
Not yet. But
Send
In time,
an
in time.
email. Send
Yes.
an email.
Yes.
It's very easy. Quintet.org. Org stands for organization. Quintet.org at our favorite email address, right?
Gmail.
Quintet.org@gmail.com. Yeah.
yes. So if there's any feedback you want to give of how much you love it, how much you like the sound, all those things, it helps us when it comes to our grant writing. We can put those comments in there, and then they can go, wow, they really did well for the community. Because we practice our butts off. I mean, this does not just happen in one night. We definitely had 6 rehearsals and to bring this content to you. So, and we love working together. So,
You
thank
might
you.
mention also that before this concert, we performed at Sunnyside for Sunnyside Community Services for the senior center there for like 100 and some people. They love us there. We love to go there because they love us.
Yep.
And then we performed for a Catholic Charities run Alzheimer's Daycare Center in St. Albans, which is also, they love us. They have like 30 people between the caretakers and the participants and the staff, and it is an amazing place to play, and we usually advertise it so you can come too. It's open to anybody. So we've already done this program twice, plus part of it at our fundraiser last Tuesday. So we did have a little more than 6 hours.
But with that said, you know, a big part of our mission is making concerts accessible to communities. And we can really do that when we have the funding to bring it to places that typically don't get to have these concerts. So like Barb was saying, the nursing homes, the Alzheimer clinics, the centers, those are really a huge part of our mission. And those grants help with that, in addition to bringing it here today. So if you have the time, please, we really appreciate that. So thank you. The last piece we're playing today is by Arturo Marquez, and it's called Danza de Mediodía. And this piece is incredibly fun, and it has lots of rhythms in it, Latin American. Arturo was born in Mexico, and his family is super musical. His father was in a mariachi band and played that the whole time. His grandfather was also into Mexican folk music, so a lot of this music was in his blood, naturally, in his culture, but also his family was writing, performing, and doing all these things. He went to music conservatory in Mexico as well, and really is known for this piece called Danzón No. 2, or Numero 2, his dance piece, which is almost considered a national anthem, a second national anthem in Mexico. Wow. So it's a really well-known song. You might have heard it. There's going to be points where it kind of comes through this as well. Danza de Mediodía actually represents noontime dance, essentially. And so there's that aspect of it. But the piece was named by Arturo because not only was it literally performed at noontime in time, he also felt like he was at kind of the noontime in his life, this middle point. And so he felt that correlation was really strong as he was coming into himself. So I really hope you enjoy this. Again, it's sultry, it's fun, it's really lyrical. Everyone gets a chance to sing a little bit and also throw down in the dance. So we won't judge you if you get up and dance. Okay? It's a judge-free zone.